Hi, my name is Ilya Bezuglov. I'm a CEO and the owner of Blue Diamond Security Consulting Group. This is my dear friend Carl, who is active jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's been doing jiu-jitsu, what, 10, 15, 20 years?
17 years.
So, yeah. So we're going to work on some defenses against the firearm. Before we even go into techniques, just number one thing is this is a very serious business. The moment you're facing a threat with a firearm, if there is a way to avoid the confrontation, it's the way to get away. If that's a robbery, give them whatever they want to do, because the chances, there is techniques and the functional techniques, but this is something that is, with the firearms, it needs to be practiced. It needs to be almost perfected to the point that it's a total muscle memory and you just go and you just do it, versus, hey, we're going to avoid this confrontation. Yes, he might take some of my properties, but I'm going to go home alive. Carl, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you slip up. You always have to err on the side of caution. So if there's an opportunity that you can give up your belongings, that's the way to go. Never know.
Right. And on the flip side, regardless if you decide to go with our company or you're going to be seeking some other techniques or assistance, to keep in mind, I've been a cop for 27 years. I've been teaching this defensive tactics for law enforcement for 22. And I've seen a lot of snake oil. I've seen a lot of techniques that have been presented to law enforcement and civilians, especially against the firearms, that we tested in our law enforcement training environment, and my guys got shot every single time. Or it was the technique that basically you're going to be destroyed by striking or whatever. So anytime you see a technique that based on old school Aikido or some fancy dance move, when you're just dancing around with a firearm without involving actual physical violence, physical confrontation, don't go there. It doesn't work. It works really nice and beautiful when it's a controlled environment and he's just holding it and I'm telling him what to do and he's following all this dancing and movement, and he's just, that's never going to be a fight. He's going to be fighting for this gun just as I'm going to be fighting. He's going to be striking me. He's going to be throwing elbows. He's going to be headbutting me. It's going to be ugly fight. So again, number one, try to avoid it at any cost. Number two, stay away from a whole bunch of YouTube snake oil stuff that doesn't work. If it's not involving actual physical violence and striking and some sort of delivering damage to him, that technique's not going to work. Okay, so now we're going to go to the technique. So the first situation is going to be is the guy's in front of you, presenting firearms, two hands, one hand, left hand, right hand, doesn't matter. Distance is your enemy. I don't want to be here. I mean, I would prefer to be 200 yards away and not to deal with it. But if you have to deal with that, if you have to, you want to be right here. Tell him whatever story you want to tell him. Cry if you need to. Put the best performance that you can do. Second of all, and that's probably the only part that I can go fast, because everything else I have to go 20, 30, 40% outside. Otherwise, I'm going to injure this person. So you're going to go away from the line of fire, and you're going to put your gun, put in the whole weight. I want him off balance. I'm going to be driving him forward as I'm punching him, and I'm delivering the knees. And then I'm ripping the gun out. So here now we're dealing with the situation again, the threat with a gun, but now you're being taken maybe hostage, maybe you're being in the car, you're just exiting the car, boom, and that's a firearm to your back. It doesn't really matter, but it's just a normal position is going to be in the back. Even if he puts it to my head, the move is going to be exactly the same. Nothing really changes. Again, if you can give him a package and just safely leave, do that. If it turns into the hostage taking situation or it's you have to deal with this firearm, the rule is the same. You immediately trying to get out of a line of fire. You're delivering the blow. The firearm is locked right here, driving you forward, and you start delivering the knees, head knees, A-frame kicks. Get the gun and move away. So now we're going to show it a little bit more dynamic. Again, I can only go about 40, 50%. I cannot go 100%. Without a safety gear, without a striking pads, there's going to be injuries. But it's a dynamic move. So boom. And get away. So those are the two techniques that I've been teaching cops for the last 18 years. It's not my techniques. I'm not taking any credit. I lived in Israel. It's developed by Krav Maga, by their combat trainings and sports, and then it was presented here in California. But this is the only, out of all techniques that I taught the cops, this is the only one that passed the test. When we use sim rounds, which is simulation rounds for firearms, this is the only one the guys didn't get shot and was actually able to take the firearms away from the suspects. All the Aikido stuff, they get shot or they get punched in the face, or you cannot deal with such a threat of violence without even more violence. It's just the way it works. Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, it was pretty effective. I couldn't really do much before I was going to get leveled by some forearms and punches. So
Perfect. So, okay. Thank you. That's our presentation.